We've all been there, right? That feeling where your chest gets tight and your thoughts are just scattering in a million different directions. That's overwhelm. But what if you could hit a mental reset button in, like, just 5 minutes? Well, today we're diving into some super simple, really fast ways to pull yourself back from the brink.
You know that feeling I'm talking about, right? Where it feels absolutely impossible to focus on just one thing because your mind is just caught in this storm of stress and worry and all your to-do lists just piling out? Look, if that's you, you are not alone, not by a long shot. What you're feeling is a completely normal human reaction. It's a signal, not a failure. So let's try and understand that signal.
To actually get control, we first got to understand what's happening inside our heads. Turns out, this feeling of panic, it's a feature, not a bug, of how we're wired. It all comes down to something called the fight or flight response. And it's actually a brilliant survival mechanism that's been hardwired into us for centuries. It's designed to flood your body with hormones that get you ready to either fight a threat or, run away from it, fast. But here's the wild part. The reaction hasn't changed, but our triggers absolutely have. I mean, our ancestors needed this response for actual, real-life physical threats, like being chased by a tiger. For us, that same alarm gets set off by a looming school deadline, a dumb argument on social media, or a tough talk with family. It's the same intense physical reaction to a completely different kind of stress.
So, that means we need a way to tell our ancient brain that, hey, a tough exam is not the same thing as a tiger. We need to find a way to manually turn down that alarm system. So how in the world do we do that?
We're going to build a really simple two-part toolkit. These are fast, effective techniques you can use absolutely anywhere to get back in control when you feel that overwhelm creeping in.
Okay, first up, grounding. This is all about pulling your focus out of the chaos that's in your head and planting it firmly back into the physical world, right here, right now. It basically short-circuits the panic by making you focus on your senses.
This is the 5-4-3-2-1 method, and it is incredibly powerful. You just go through your senses. So look around right now and name 5 things you can actually see. Then notice 4 things you can physically feel, maybe your feet on the floor or the texture of your shirt. Next, listen for 3 different sounds. Then try to identify 2 different smells. And finally, name 1 thing you can taste. It forces your brain to pay attention to the present moment, and that calms down that overactive alarm. And hey, if you don't have time for the full 5-4-3-2-1 thing, here's another super quick trick. Just trace a pattern on your leg or on a tabletop with your finger. That repetitive physical motion is a fantastic way to focus your attention and just soothe your nervous system. Okay, so once your body is a little bit calmer, it's time to work on your mind. The second technique is all about actively changing that internal story you're telling yourself, from one of panic to one of problem solving. This is a total game changer. Just because a thought pops into your head doesn't make it true. Especially when you're stressed, your brain can get stuck on this, negative playlist on repeat. The key is to remember that you have the power to change the song.
So, here's how it works. That little inner voice that says, I can't handle this, or, oh, this is a total disaster, we're going to challenge it. This is a technique called cognitive reframing. You consciously shift that thought to something a little more constructive, like, okay, this is tough, but I can figure it out. You're not pretending the problem isn't there, you're just changing your approach from panic to capability.
And really, the very first step is just identifying the feeling and the negative thought. Just acknowledging, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm having the thought that I'm going to fail. That immediately takes away some of its power. Once you can name what's happening, it becomes so much easier to manage.
So we've got our 2 core techniques, grounding your body and reframing your thoughts. The next step is all about making them your own.
Seriously, think of these as different categories of tools for your own personal mental reset kit. Sometimes you might use relaxation techniques. Other times you might need to focus on movement. Maybe you just need a healthy distraction. The whole goal is to experiment and see which ones you can really rely on when stress hits. And you know what? It is totally okay if these feel a little strange at first. The most important thing is to just try. You might think it feels silly, but what's the real downside? You give it a shot, and if it doesn't work for you, you try something else. Just give it a shot. So, what's it going to be? Are you going to try the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding exercise? Or maybe just start by challenging that one negative thought that always seems to pop up? The real power is having a plan before the storm hits. So I'll leave you with this. What's the first tool you're going to put in your kit?